Hello everybody and welcome back to the United Stand. This is Michael Carrick's press conference reaction ahead of our game tomorrow night, coming thick and fast against West Ham. We're in London, aren't we? As Michael Carrick is on the hunt for his 5th win in a row. Can you believe it? He actually got asked about the United Strand haircut. Frank, he got asked about him in his press conference and his answer was quite interesting, so we'll bring that into the show. He also spoke about Mason Mount, an injury update on him, Matthias de Ligt as well. Both of them still out. How long for? We will give you that update very, very shortly. He was asked about Bruno Fernandes. He was asked about not getting carried away. He was asked about the future of Manchester United under him and what the rest of the season should look like. And yeah, there was quite a lot of interesting things to get into in Carrick's press conference. So we'll get into that. But also, it's not just a press conference reaction, it is a news show as well. There's also some news coming in about Tonali. Now, I've not had my say on Tonali yet because it was the game against Spurs. I wasn't doing the shows yesterday when all the Tonali stuff started to come out, and I want to have my say on it. So there is another Tonali update coming out, which is a bit of a boost. If anybody wants Tonali, it is a bit of a boost for Manchester United fans that fancy Tonali and want him in the summer. We'll talk about that. And there's been a new manager update as well coming out from Mark Ogden about who is leading that new manager race. And Ancelotti is making his way to the front, apparently. Apparently, it's just news, but we'll bring it in because Mark Ogden is a very reliable journalist. We'll bring him into the show and we'll talk about what he's had to say on the managers for Manchester United. But get your comments in, get interactive. Happy Monday, everyone. How was your weekend? Mine was absolutely brilliant. I mean, is this how it feels to win football matches consistently? I honestly forgot the feeling of winning. I mean, have you seen that TikTok that's going around? It's like, you know, I'm going to get tired of winning at this point. That's how it feels. I'm never going to get tired of winning. I will never get tired of winning. But it feels so good to actually not only win football games, but watch Manchester United play football. That's enjoyable. That gets you off your seat. Where you go away from 90 minutes and you're thinking, I thoroughly enjoyed that 90 minutes at Old Trafford. I'm super excited for tomorrow night already. I don't think West Ham is just a walkover. I don't think it's just a walk in the park at all. I'm actually very nervous going into this game. We don't have a good record at their stadium. We don't have a good record down in London, and we definitely don't have a good record at West Ham's ground. So I'm going into it cautiously. I'm not getting carried away like Carrick says. But I actually just can't wait to watch Manchester United play another game of football. And there's quite a big break from the West Ham game until the next game that we play. So I'm going to savour it. I'm going to enjoy it. But match of the day, can't get enough of it. I've been watching it for the last 4 weeks. Under Michael Carrick, I've been absolutely loving watching Match of the Day. Your weekend, you're just in a better mood, you have a better time. And when you win at 12:30 on a weekend of Premier League football, you can just enjoy it. I'm actually watching more Premier League games. Like, I have to watch Premier League anyway, and I've always enjoyed watching all of the Premier League games because, one, I want to stay informed on the Premier League and players that we might go for as Manchester United fans. Two, because I just love watching the Premier League and I love watching football. But I'm going to be honest, when Manchester United were consistently playing poorly and consistently losing, it was tough to then go and watch other games because I'd be jealous of the way they were playing, the points they were picking up, where they were at in their project. But now under Carrick, I'm watching everyone else and I'm thinking, you know what? United are it. United are it at the minute. So, like Carrick said, don't get carried away, but it just puts you in such a good mood for the week. And I can't wait to talk to you guys. I can't wait to get into it. Get your thoughts in on Ancelotti, get your thoughts in on Tonali, and we'll get through Carrick's quotes as well. Straight away, I do want to put a poll in the show, and the poll is, we've been discussing it very heavily with a lot of debate in my family group chat this morning. It's been going off in my family group chat talking about this, so I want to get your say. I mean, we might not sign any of them. We might sign both. I mean, in an ideal world, we would sign both. But if you had to pick, if push came to shove and United were only going to spend big money on one of these players, who would you go for? Anderson of Nottingham Forest or Tonali of Newcastle? Both heavily linked to Manchester United. I think Anderson is more realistic, but both of them are going to cost a pretty penny. Anderson might be slightly cheaper because Ben Jacobs did mention on previous shows, which I haven't forgot about, that if Manchester United get Champions League football for a Champions League club, Anderson's fee might be lower than what people expect. But if Manchester United were going to go and spend big on one midfielder, And I'm on the same page as most of you guys. I think we need 2, if not 3. But if you're going to go and spend on one heavily, do you go with Anderson or do you go with Tonali? I want to get that poll running and voting it, because there has been big debate on my family group chat and it's going either way. So let me know what you're thinking. But let's get into Michael Carrick's quotes first and foremost, and we'll circle back to the Tonali and Anderson stuff and the manager stuff with Ancelotti. It's interesting with Ancelotti because there's a lot of people that want him because of his record, because of his aura, because of his credibility, because of his CV. And I understand he checks a lot of boxes for Manchester United. I see Ancelotti as a manager that comes into a team that's already functioning at a very high level. And don't get me wrong, I think we've done really well over the past few weeks under Carrick. But I just don't know if Manchester United in its current state is a match with Ancelotti. I don't think it is. I would go in a different direction, which I can't believe I'm saying that, because I think Ancelotti is one of the best managers of my lifetime. I think he's a fantastic manager. But I just think at this moment in time, I don't know if it's the exact right mix with what Manchester United needs right now and what would suit Ancelotti as well. So I'm not overly sold on Ancelotti, to be honest with you. I think he's an excellent manager, and if we got him in, I mean, I'd back it, and I think, you know, he's definitely got the tools in his toolbox to do a fantastic job with what he's done in the past. However, it wouldn't be my first choice for Manchester United currently. But let me know what you think. Anyway, on to Michael Carrick. Let's get in some of his quotes and his thoughts before we move on to the news and circle back to it. Michael Carrick on Mason Mount and De Ligt. I think this is what everyone's itching to know. They're the 2 senior players that are injured for Manchester United right now. I mean, Dorgu's injured, but we know how long he's going to be out for. We know he's going to be out for a significant period of time, and we know why he's going to be out for a significant period of time. It's his hamstring. Whereas with Mount and De Ligt, we've barely had any information. I mean, Mount's injured on and off as it is. De Ligt is one that we've heard it's a back injury. He was initially only meant to be out for 1 or 2 games. He's not played for Manchester United since the 30th of November. We are into February. We are 9 days into February. Like, this is concerning. He was being hailed as our player of the year and he was performing exceptionally well. And he's been out for a significant period now, and we're just not getting much detail on it, which is frustrating. So there's an update on De Ligt and there's an update on Mason Mount as well. So Carrick has said Mason Mount will probably not be back for Tuesday, i.e. he won't be back for tomorrow. But definitely going into the Everton game, he'll be back. But remember, I'm pretty sure the Everton game is like 13 days after the West Ham game. It's a big gap for Manchester United to not play any football because it is the FA Cup weekend, which, brilliant news, we're not in. So frustrating. I feel like if we were in the FA Cup, we actually could win it this season. I think Carrick's got it in him. I think the mood that the team's in now, like how together the team are and the run of form that we're on, I think we could win that FA Cup if we were still in it. But anyway, woulda, coulda, shoulda, we're not in it. So we're not playing football until the 23rd of February after this game. So that is disappointing, to say the least. So Mason Mount has a significant period of time to be back for the Everton game. So it's good news he'll be back for Everton, and I'm just hoping he can stay fit, because, you know, if you're being paid 240 grand a week, and I know he doesn't want to be injured, and I feel for him. You know, as a 25-year-old, I think he's 25, 26. As a 25-year-old football player that's playing for Manchester United, you want to be fit, you want to be available. I mean, look at the wins we're putting together under Carrick, look at the vibes, look at how happy everyone is. That feeling as a football player, you want to be part of it. So he's not choosing to be injured, but unfortunately, he's just injured a lot. And he needs to stay fit. If you're being paid 240 grand a week and you're a senior member of the team, you can't be injured as much as Mason Mount is. You just can't. And I know, like I said, it's not as if he's choosing to be injured. And I know he wants to be fit, he wants to be playing. But, you know, when you're paying someone a big chunk of money to be there, fit and available, whether to be as a bench option or as part of the starting 11, they need to be there. They really do need to be there, because that chunk of money could be going on to a player that can be there, can contribute every single week, can be an option off the bench, can be an option as a starter. And Mason Mount, when he plays, like I said, I think he's a very good player. And if we could have Mason Mount fit and we were guaranteed he was fit 90% of the games, I think he'd be a brilliant player for Manchester United. But he's just unfortunately not. And there's no point having someone around who is classed as a senior player, a number 7 shirt wearer, and is meant to be, you know, a player that you can rely upon for 240 grand a week. You want him playing, and then not being able to use him, because he is a good player, and that's what's the most frustrating part is. He's a good player and he'd be very, very useful if we had him available. It's just, we just never know when he's going to be available. We never know when he's going to be out for a couple of games here and there. And it's frustrating, to be honest with you, because yes, we've got enough cover right now. You've got Cunha doing the business. You've got Mbeumo doing the business. Ahmad, Bruno, Mainu. But you'd like to be able to have a player of his quality available, because you need him in certain games and he's unfortunately just not there. So he will be back for the Everton game. That's what Carrick's saying. So that will be a boost to have Mason Mount as part of the squad. Like I said, when he's fit, a very good player that you can utilise. Whereas De Ligt, okay, so on De Ligt, this is what he said. He said, Mata De Ligt, we'll see how he develops over the Everton game feels like a long way at the moment. So we'll see how he develops. But he's positive, he's moving in the right direction, but Mason Mount's a little bit closer than him. So to me, that signals as if De Ligt's not going to be back for Everton either. And let me just have a look at this. Yeah, so De Ligt hasn't played since the 30th of November. We don't play Everton until Monday, the 23rd of February. That is a long time off, right? So 23rd of February, it's 2 weeks from today. 2 weeks from today, we play Everton. So De Ligt might not be back for another 2 weeks, and who knows after the next game. And I don't want to scaremonger people at all, because Harry Maguire is playing exceptionally well. So is Licha Martinez. I actually think Licha Martinez has gone under the radar, has been one of our best performing players over the last 4 weeks under Carrick. He has been absolutely top. So if De Ligt was fit and back for Everton, he wouldn't start. Even if he was fit enough to start. If he was fit enough to start a game, even West Ham tomorrow, he wouldn't start. Because Maguire and Martinez are just doing such a good job, you can't break them up. They've formed a formidable partnership. At some point, we will need De Ligt though. We will need him, because he was playing exceptionally well before he got injured. Maguire has had injuries in the past, like quite regularly over the last few years of his career. Martinez, we know about his injury record, and you want to be able to rely on a player like De Ligt to come back into the team. So De Ligt, I'm just frustrated that he's been out for this long. Again, not his fault. Players do get injuries. It happens, and you've got to be prepared. And thankfully, Maguire and Martinez over these last few weeks have really stepped up to the plate. They've been fantastic, and they will be our starting centre-backs until either one of them has a really bad dip of form, which let's hope doesn't happen, or let's hope even more doesn't happen, they get injured. They're the only two ways that De Ligt can get back into this team. And that sounds crazy, but that's a good thing in the sense of Martinez and Maguire have really stepped up together. But it'd be good to have De Ligt. It'd be good to bring him back into the team. He was performing at a super high level before he dropped out. I want to see what he's like under Carrick, and I want to get him back into the team. And it's a long time to be out without any clarification on really what's happened, apart from we thought it was a back injury. So we might not even be back for February 23rd. It could get into March with De Ligt. December, January, February, it could get into March. You could be edging on 3.5 months with De Ligt. So let's hope he gets back, and let's hope it's not anything that's going to reoccur, or you don't want to hinder him. And of course, the last thing you want to do is bring him back too early and then for the injury to happen again, or for something to start niggling again because you went too soon with it. We've got to protect our players, and we've got to be careful with injuries. I'm completely on board with that, but I'd just like a little bit more clarification on De Ligt, to be honest with you, because it's been a long time now without any clarification on it. So it is a bit of a blow. I thought De Ligt would be coming back at least for Everton. I thought, there'd be maybe a possibility that he'd be on the bench for West Ham, but again, it feels like each press conference, Carrick's asked about De Ligt, and it's, he's nearly ready, but he's not yet. Well, he wasn't nearly ready a few weeks ago, was he? Because he's not here. And I don't think that's Carrick obviously making it up. He's obviously not. But they'll be briefed on this before they go into press conferences, and it'll be a decision from who, either the medical department or PR or what, to say, if you get asked about De Ligt, this is what we say. So let's just hope he's back sooner rather than later, and he is injury free for the rest of the season when he does come back, because we need a player like that fit and firing, and we don't want to get into a roundabout of injuries. So at least they're being careful, at least he's being looked after, but I want him back in the squad, and I want to know what the issue is. But anyway, let's move on to some more of Michael Carrick's quotes. I can see some chats coming in. I'm going to come to them in just a second. So we have Michael Carrick. He got asked on what it means by not getting carried away with the wins, and he said, "The big challenge is knowing what you've got there. To win a game of football at this level is tough, so never assume the next one is just going to be all right. But you've still got to allow yourself to feel the waves of emotion with it. It's a little bit boring and pointless if you didn't. Winning games is what we all strive for, but you have to come into training and be focused on the next one." And it's just getting the balance right. Football would be boring if we didn't celebrate the momentous wins, or any wins really. You're a footballer. The reason you're in it, the reason why we all love it, is we want to win. That feeling is fantastic. Of course we want to see good football. Of course we want to be entertained. But we want to win. We want to win trophies. That's the end goal. So enjoy it. But you've also got to not get carried away with it to the point where you'll lose focus on the next game. Because the best feeling in football is consistently winning. The best feeling in football is lifting trophies. The best feeling in football is, the long-term goals being completed by consistent winning. And, you don't win a trophy for just winning one game. And I think that's really important, because I think sometimes in the past, United have got carried away because they've won a few games, because we've got such a large fan base as well. And when United do win, you can see, and I've always said this at Manchester United, if we win a few games, we're the best thing since sliced bread. If we lose a few games, we're the worst team on the planet. It's very extreme when it comes to Manchester United, because we're such a big club. We are absolutely huge. I mean, we've won 4 games, which is a good achievement considering where we're at, and I'm buzzing about it. I think this is the best unbeaten record we've had since Ralph Rangnick in 2022. And that doesn't add up to me, because I don't remember many wins under Ralph Rangnick, I'm going to be honest with you. But it's the first time we've won 4 in a row in the Premier League since Erik ten Hag, in that period, I think, of February 2022, was it? Around that point? I don't even know. The years are merging into one. Erik ten Hag went on a four-game winning streak at some point, whatever it was. But including the draws we had before Carrick came in, it's the longest unbeaten run we've had since Ralph Rangnick. So, with that being said, it was 2024. It must have been 2024 under Ten Hag, February 2024, and then 2022 under Ralph Rangnick. Anyway, I digress. The winning run that we've been on, it's 4 wins, which, great. I mean, fantastic. We're all buzzing about it, and it feels so good. Chelsea have also won 4 in a row with Liam Rosenior, but you're not hearing as much about it. And Chelsea are a big club. Of course, we've heard about it, but you're not hearing as much about it as you've heard with Manchester United. Now, of course, they've not really had much of a test. Let's be honest. The teams in the Premier League they've played, Chelsea are expected to beat. And Napoli, okay, that was a good win. And then in terms of the Carabao Cup, the first proper tough test they came up against in Arsenal, they failed. So yeah, it's not as big as when United beats Man City in the derby, Arsenal at the Emirates. Our wins, I think, you look at them and they feel bigger because of the opposition that we faced, but it's also because we are the biggest team in England and we are one of the biggest teams in the world. I mean, even my friends who aren't really into football, I went to a girls' night the other night and they were all saying, "Beth, do you think this new manager's going to get the full-time job? Because United just keep winning and winning and winning." It's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's huge. When United win football games, it's massive. So as a player, if you don't block out the outside noise, you could get carried away with it. And I think we've been guilty of doing that in the past. Carrick's been there. He knows what it takes to win trophies. He knows what it takes to play for this football club. He knows about the outside noise. He's played under one of the best managers ever. For me, in my opinion, the best manager of all time in Sir Alex Ferguson, who knows how to block out the outside noise, who knows how to celebrate winning games but keep on a winning run, and how to do it in Manchester United, because Manchester United is a different kettle of fish. I don't care what anyone says, it is a different kettle of fish for multiple reasons. So I think when Carrick talks about not getting carried away, it really resonates with the players because he has first-hand experience of dealing with that. And it's working so far. West Ham, like I said, I think it's a huge challenge. I really do. A lot of people are thinking, get the scissors sharp, ready for United Strand to have his haircut. It's 5 wins, it's just guaranteed. And I would never do that because I've had times as a United fan where I've thought we're just going to go and play West Ham, we're going to go and win. It doesn't happen that often. Like, our record at their stadium isn't great, and we're not always good away from home, especially in London. So I am wary about it. I don't want to get too carried away with it. And, you know, Nuno Espirito Santos can do a number on you as well. We should be winning, and there's no excuses. I think we have to win that game of football. If you're going to go and beat Arsenal, if you're going to go and beat Man City, if you're going to beat Fulham, if you're going to beat these teams that you could easily slip up against, it would be really gutting if you went and slipped up against a team that potentially is going to get relegated. Like, we don't want to be doing that. We should be winning. On paper, United should be winning. But these are the type of games that have got us a little bit in the past. Also, there's a little bit coming. Let me have a look here. There's a little bit coming in from the West Ham manager Nuno as well. He has said that unfortunately we're not going to have. It's so annoying when you're reading things and things are moving. One second, guys. So, the West Ham manager, Nuno, has said, unfortunately, we're going to have some players out. It is what it is, but I'm not going to say who it is. So, they've got some big players out, then it seems like. If he's saying that they're going to have some players out, and unfortunately they're going to have some players out, it's going to be someone big if he doesn't want to reveal it. So, who knows who will be out for West Ham? It could be Bowen, it could be Fernandes. It could be other players, let's say. So Nuno said they're going to have some players out, which should benefit Manchester United, really. Michael Carrick has also spoken about the freedom in the attack. And he has said, yes, there is within reason, as long as we carry out the roles properly. It's not total free-for-all where you can all go and decide where you end up. Bruno is that type where he understands the different roles and plays them particularly well. Brian has done very similar, and Mateus as well. It does give us variety. They're all suited to different kind of roles. Ahmad is more natural being wide, so that's a little bit more predictable, if you like. But the flexibility certainly helps us as long as we look after the positions when we don't have the ball. So, again, it's about showing trust to your players. Brian and Bruno, I trust you. Look after that position, and as long as you do the work and you cover your position well, have a little bit of freedom. Same with Bruno. Cunha is quite versatile. Ahmad is more of a wide player, and I actually agree with Carrick. I think Ahmad is way more dangerous when he starts off wide and then starts cutting in. I mean, even going on the outside and coming into the box, he's been super, super dangerous. And Ahmad is a bit of a litmus test at the moment, isn't he? If you watch Manchester United regularly, you will know how important, how crucial Ahmad is. Ahmad is a fantastic player. And just because he's not providing all the goals and the assists at the moment doesn't mean he should be dropped out this side. I've seen some people saying, bring Sesko in for Ahmad. Well, you're not getting football then, are you? Like, you're just not getting football. Ahmad has been one of our best players. And, okay, yeah, he's not scored or got an assist recently that's been anything to write home about. But his overall play over the course of 90 minutes is fantastic. Do you know how some people say, for example, Bruno Fernandes, I love him. He's my favourite United player. I love Bruno Fernandes. He brings moments, he brings goals, he brings assists, and is brilliant at it. And he can have a good 90 minutes, don't get me wrong. Bruno Fernandes has had excellent 90 minutes over the course of his United career. However, he can also have games where he's not having the best 90 minutes, but then he'll come up with 2 goals or the winning assist. I feel like Ahmad is the type that, isn't really coming up with that winning goal or winning assist. However, over the course of 90 minutes, he's just playing exceptionally well. Not only just getting forward and, his intelligence when he's getting forward and making everything tick, but his defensive work as well, his intelligence when defending, in blocking them passing lanes, in getting back and helping out his fullback. I think Ahmad is just fantastic. So, yeah, the front line is working super well together, and Carrick is clearly doing something right in terms of letting the players have that bit of freedom, but also guiding them with that tactical insight as well. And just on, the players in the front line doing super well, can you believe this? Manchester United have had 407 shots in the Premier League this season, more than any other side across Europe's top 5 leagues. Only Barcelona, Inter and Real Madrid have had more. So you look at the amount of shots Man United having, it's not always just about shots, because, you know, you can have shots from miles out that are never going to go in and you think you should have just passed the ball. So you can't read too much into it, considering, you know, that stat about shots. But it is interesting that Manchester United have had 407 shots across the Premier League, more than any other Premier League side, and only Barca, Inter and Real Madrid have had more shots, and they're obviously, you know, like Barcelona and Real Madrid, like they're the big hitters in La Liga, and in the Premier League it's so tough, and the defences as well, I think, just keep improving. And I saw someone talking about this the other day, about sometimes you know, with how good the defences are being in the Premier League at the moment, you just do have to take that shot if it's on. And Cunha's a big example of that. Bruno's a big example of that. Dorgu, with his wonder strike, is a big example of that. It's not always about just getting that tap in. You know, take a bit of risk as well. You know, you never know where the ball's going to end up. I'm not saying shoot if it's not on, because if the better option, and this is in-game intelligence, the better option is to make that pass and make that run into the box and look for the 1-2, and there's openings and there's gaps, and there's a real opportunity to get a good chance. You take that opportunity and you go down that route. But if there's not much on, don't be afraid of going hitting a shot. And I think United are playing with that little bit of fearlessness, especially in the front line. And I've seen it develop more under Michael Carrick as well. It feels a little bit less stiff, and it feels like the players do have a bit more freedom. And it's paying off. It's absolutely paying off. So it's good to see, for sure. Keep voting in the poll, by the way. I am going to get to it. I'm going to get to some of your super chats now, by the way. Ian O'Connell has said, loved your latest vlog, Beth. Oh, thank you very much, Ian. I'm trying to be a bit more consistent doing my vlogs and letting you guys in see the behind the scenes of a match day. I have a season ticket at Old Trafford, so when it's a home game, I'm in Old Trafford, and then when it's an away game, we're here at the studio. And it's, yeah, I'm going to try and look to do some more stuff as well. But yeah, thank you very much for that comment. I appreciate it. Makalaki Francis says, thoughts on Barca's interest in Leacher? I was talking about this yesterday. They can have interest all they want. They're not having him. You know, have your interest. That's absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. But doesn't mean you can have him. I'm interested in getting a Porsche tomorrow, but I'm not going to be able to go and get one. It's just like, I'm interested in my dad giving me his car for the next month because it's a better car than I have. He's not going to do it. And people say, well, what if what if Barca come knocking on the door, and what if Leacher wants to go? I don't think he would want to go, and that might be quite bold. But I think if we carry on the way we are and we get Champions League football, he's in line to be captain of this football club. We don't know what's going to happen with Bruno Fernandes. I hope Bruno stays, and I think if we get Champions League, he will. But I think if Bruno goes, Leacher becomes captain. So he plays a big role in the leadership. You can tell he absolutely loves the club. You know, the fans and the club have stuck by him through 2 brutal injuries, and you know, he's very much loved in the fan base. And you know, the Premier League is the best league in the world to play, and I think if you've got Champions League football, why would you leave? So I actually think he will stay, even if Barca did come in for him. I think he would stay. I hope Bruno stays as well, and he can just be part of that leadership team. But there is a pathway for him being captain at some point in the future as well. Elvici says, if Leacher goes, we need Pacho or Bastoni. Lol. I don't think he'll go, but let me know what you think. Is a Barca going to be able to... Someone just made a good comment. Barca can't afford him. They can't afford him. They can't afford him. They can barely put the money together to bring Rashford in, who they want. So, you know, Barcelona are a very well-respected club and a huge club, but I don't think we're in a position, if United get Champions League football, where if a Barca comes knocking, it instantly means your player's gone. I don't think we're in that position anymore. But keep voting in your Elliot Anderson or Sandro Tonali poll as well. I'm going to bring in them news stories in just a second. Just a little bit more on Michael Carrick. I'm just kind of reading through my notes here and see if there's anything more that is worthy bringing in. So just a little bit more on staying grounded from Michael Carrick. He said, you've got to enjoy the buzz of winning, and that's what we're in it for. You can't just be flatlined the whole time. But going into the next game, you need to regroup and go again, taking confidence from your previous wins. The big challenge is understanding what you got there and the hard work, the preparation and the focus needed to win. You can't assume the next game will be easy. You still need to feel the highs, otherwise it's boring and pointless. He says the boys have managed it well, enjoying the wins, coming back into training, focused on the next one. So basically just reiterating what he had previously said. And I think, again, he knows exactly what it takes, which is a good thing. Carrick has also said it's understanding that, but the boys have responded to really well what we've asked them to do, and the clean sheet against Spurs was important for us. So again, kind of a little bit of a nod to the fact the last 2 games, although it was exciting, it was thrilling, we won 3-2 in both games. He ideally wants a clean sheet and he wants to stop conceding goals. Again, you're looking at the details. And okay, yeah, Spurs had 10 men, but a clean sheet really does help boost morale. And it's important when you're looking to keep goals out the back of the net that you kind of, you make it a top priority. That clean sheet. That let's aim for that again, lads. Like we've scoring goals, absolutely fine, but we need to stop conceding them, because on a different day, in that Fulham game, in that Arsenal game, you don't always manage to score 3, and so we need to get out of the habit of conceding 2 goals. I mean, it was unfortunate because the 2 goals against Fulham were literally like, I mean, one of them was an absolute wonder strike, and the other one was a penalty. So it was like, and then against Arsenal, again, the first one, yeah, it was a poor goal to concede, but the second one, again, it was like really kind of, it wasn't huge. The only one where I thought, wow, that defending was pretty poor was that Timber goal. And we learnt from it, we bounced back and we moved on. So Michael Carrick also kind of hinted as well, I remember this from his press conference, that, you keep winning and you're doing really well, but couldn't there still be criticism to the performance even when you are winning on things you need to do better? And he basically just laughed it off and said there's a time and a place for that, i.e. I will do that in private to players that need it. And again, I absolutely love that, because sometimes I think I don't want to keep harping on about it, but I think Amorim could be too honest sometimes and expose a lot of what was going on behind the scenes in his press conferences for all the world to hear, and that might have upset players potentially. And I know that there's the argument, you've got to have a thick skin, you've got to be able to take it, you're in the industry, but if a player knows that their manager, if they've got an issue with something they've done in the game, or something they want them to improve, that they're going to come to them and help them with that and be constructive about it. Or even if they're going to get, a little bit of the hairdryer treatment, that's going to stay just within the squad. The squad are together. It's just between them. It's not going to reach the outside. I think that's a much better way of dealing with it, and it's a much better way of man management as well, and keeping the squad together and everyone on side. He spoke a little bit about West Ham. He said, I think they're very good in the transition and are dangerous with some really strong attacking players. We've studied them and they've studied us. When they get going at home, they're a real threat, so we've got to be ready to handle all of that. I completely agree. I actually think West Ham, have got more threat than people think. I don't know what players Nuno is referring to as being injured, but the young kid, Fernandes, I think he's a proper talent. I actually, when he first came into West Ham, I think was he not at Southampton before? Even when he was at Southampton, I thought, ooh, okay. And then he went to West Ham, and when I've watched West Ham, when I'm watching like football with my dad and stuff, I say to him, like, he's a player, like he's a player. I really like him, and he's only young. I mean, he's been linked to Manchester United, I think, over the past 24 hours, but he's a player. We know Jared Bowen is a top player. I think he's surely got to move on from West Ham if they go down, which I can't even imagine West Ham going down. It feels like too big of a club to go down, but if they do, he's going to move on. And honestly, if I was Liverpool, I'd be going for him for that right wing spot. I think he's that good. I think he could start at Liverpool. So Jared Bowen's a threat, and they've got some other players as well, but Wan-Bissaka has been doing really well for them, really well. I mean, he toasted Garnacho when West Ham played them, and he's actually become a good attacking outlet for them as well. So there's players there that can cause us problems for sure. He also got asked about United Strand, Frank, waiting for 5 straight wins before cutting his hair. And I like this response from Carrick. He just played it down, and he didn't make it into anything more than it needed to be. But he was also respectful. He said, I'm aware of it. My kids made sure of that. It won't be part of the team talk from a professional point of view, but I understand it. Makes me smile, but it won't influence anything in the end. So just not taking it too seriously, just shrugging it off. And Bruno Fernandes got asked about it, didn't he? And he just didn't make it a big deal. And I think that's really important from a professional standpoint. Of course, we all want United Strand to get his hair cut. I mean, I definitely do. It's, the more it goes on, the more you're thinking, this is kind of embarrassing from a United point of view. Like, we just want it to be done, because it's obviously a big it's a big thing. Like, everybody knows about it. Like, even my mum knows about it. Do you know what I mean? Like, everyone knows about it. So you just kind of want that to the hair to be cut, and for us to kind of move on and focus on it not being a one-off thing. United winning 5 games in a row. It is quite tough to win 5 games in a row in the Premier League, but you want it to become the norm for Manchester United. We don't want it to be something for opposition fans to kind of laugh at us at. So yeah, we want to get back to winning ways consistently, and we all want to see Frank get his haircut. Hopefully that happens tomorrow, and yeah, we can just kind of move on from it. I'm sure he'll still do other content and stuff after that, but the haircut thing, we need to win 5 games in a row. He got asked about Bruno Fernandes, and Bruno Fernandes in his post-match interview against Spurs having real sort of affection for Michael Carrick and saying he knew he was going to be a good manager last time he was in, when he was the interim after Ollie, and he told him that, and he was right, because he is a really good manager. He was really big in Michael Carrick up Bruno Fernandes after the Spurs game, and Michael Carrick said, "I've got a really good relationship with Bruno, and I understand how intelligent he is. He's bright and he cares a lot for this club. We all want the same thing, and that is to win." So he was proper bigging up Bruno there. He did say a little bit more. He was saying that he really respects him and he appreciates his comments, but we want the same thing, and that's to win, and the job's not done yet, and all that stuff, and let's not get carried away. But yeah, that is what Michael Carrick said in his press conference. I think there was a few more things that he touched on, but nothing crazy that we need to bring into the show. So I do want to talk a little bit about the Tonali news and the manager news before we wrap up. Just kind of having a little look. Okay, so just on the, I just saw a comment here. So I'm not going to try and claim it to myself, because it is a comment, and I think it's really dead on. Just going back to Michael Carrick talking about the attacking freedom in the front line, someone's commented, "The balance and the structure and the freedom is exactly why Bruno's chance creation is off the charts and the attack keeps flowing." And I really do think there's something in that. It's not super regimented. And some teams can play regimented and it thrives, it works. United isn't that team, and I don't think it ever will be, really. We are free-flowing, attacking football, and it's great to see. And Mbeumo, Cunha, Bruno, Ahmad, Sesko when he comes on, hopefully Mount when he's back. I mean, Mainoo's getting involved as well, even Casemiro. It's good to see that type of football, and you can tell the players are enjoying it, and it's a huge part of the game. It really is. Of course, it's more enjoyable when you're winning games, and that's what we're doing. But it's nice to see. And Bruno's chance creations, honestly, they're just getting absolutely silly. I saw something, and I sent it to Ricky before. Games taken to reach 200 goal involvements for Manchester United in the Premier League era. Wayne Rooney, 295, 133 goals, 67 assists. Bruno Fernandes, 314, he's second with 104 goals and 96 assists. Cristiano Ronaldo is third in 339 with 144 goals, 56 assists. After that is David Beckham, 393 with 85 goals, 115 assists. 115 assists, by the way, crazy from David Beckham. 424 is Ryan Giggs with 90 goals and 111 assists. Again, crazy assist record. And Paul Scholes is just under that, 564, 138 goals, 62 assists. So in that list of games taken to reach 200 goal involvement for Man United in the Premier League era, the only person above Bruno Fernandes is Wayne Rooney. It's the only person above Bruno Fernandes, Wayne Rooney, who, in my opinion, is the best player I've seen of the Premier League era. I genuinely do believe that. Wayne Rooney is he was insane. And yeah, maybe it's my time period when I was growing up, but Wayne Rooney is the best ever United player I've seen. And I mean, when you're talking about players, Cristiano Ronaldo, I've seen Cristiano Ronaldo play live in a United shirt. Cristiano Ronaldo is the greatest player of all time, in my opinion. Okay, but for United, I think Wayne Rooney is the best Premier League player. And Cristiano Ronaldo is insane. Do not get me wrong, but for the time period he had and how he could affect a game, Wayne Rooney was just absolutely insane. And the fact he's the only person above Bruno Fernandes, it says a lot. Like, don't get me wrong, Bruno Fernandes isn't on the level of Cristiano Ronaldo. and you know, all the other names there, Ryan Giggs, Paul Scholes, David Beckham, like, they've got Premier League titles to add to their list, and they're all fantastic players. But the fact Bruno Fernandes is in that list, do you know what I mean? Bruno's been playing in a team, unfortunately, that hasn't been able to compete. But this is what I try and tell Ricky. He's in the list with great players. You don't just end up in lists with fantastic players if you're not worthy to be in them lists. Like, you see the list he's in, and it's like he's in lists with De Bruyne and Salah and Son in Premier League lists of recent times. You know, he's in lists with the likes of Rooney, Ronaldo, Beckham, Giggs, Scholes when it comes to United, you know, lists. He's absolutely ridiculous. So I have nothing but love and respect for Bruno Fernandes, and I really, really, really want him to continue on into next season. But let's see, especially when he's playing in that role as a number 10. Like, there was times, everyone knows, like, I'm one of the biggest Bruno fans you'll meet, but there was times under Amorim where I was actually even questioning Bruno. I was questioning Bruno, but it was Amorim playing him completely out of position and nullifying his strengths and highlighting his weaknesses. What Carrick's doing is he's covering up his weaknesses and he's highlighting his strengths. And he looks like an absolute world beater. Like, no one's performing higher than him in the Premier League at this current moment in time if you're talking about form. So, a few more super chats coming in. Daniel Thompson says, hope you well, Beth, in the United stand. West Ham will be tricky, but hope we carry on our good form. Either Tonali or Anderson would be great. Both would be brilliant. Need to go full send on the midfield. Great vlog as always. Thank you very much, Daniel. Appreciate your support, appreciate your comments, and again, I think you bang on the money there. M. Parker says, hat-trick on debut, Rooney was nuts. Rooney's ridiculous. Rooney's a big Carrick fan as well. Come on, Wayne Rooney. Every time Wayne Rooney's asked about Carrick, he's just glowing about him. I know the mates, I know they see each other, but proper red Wayne Rooney. Elvice says, Goretzka support for the midfield next season. Nah, not for me. Not for me. I wouldn't be going in that direction. In terms of your votes on Elliot Anderson or Sandro Tonali, if I could just get the results of them now, that would be great because it's not loading. So there's nearly 4,000 votes on that poll and it's 50-50. How crazy is that? 50-50. And that just shows, doesn't it? Like, that just shows. I also did tweet it out on my Twitter account because I wanted to get a second opinion. And on my Twitter account, it's 57.2% Anderson and 42.8% Tonali. So it's very, very close. It really, really is in terms of who you would go for. Look, I'll get the news in on Tonali and then I'll just quickly kind of debate it a little bit. So the news on Tonali is this. So we knew that Mike McGrath, who was the first person to break Mbeumo last summer, had mentioned about Tonali, I think it was yesterday morning or yesterday afternoon, and the Italian midfielder who wants a guarantee of Champions League football would command a fee in the region of 100 million. If you've watched the United Stand shows over the past 24 hours, you'll know that. But the new bit is from Rich Fay. And he said, Man United have a preference to sign a Premier League proven midfielder in the summer, with Sandro Tonali viewed as one of the most attractive options. Early indications suggest he could demand a fee of roughly 100 million. So it's a similar report, but it's a new report, it's a fresh report, and it again kind of reaffirms that Man United will be going into the Premier League proven market for a midfielder in the summer. Thank you, God. Thank you. I mean, Mbeumo and Cunha have changed my life. Like, when you get Premier League proven like that, no wonder we want to go and do it again, and we should be doing it again for a position that we absolutely need to nail. And I think to myself, who would combine the best with Mainu? Because Mainu's going to be, you know, built around in that midfield, and he's just Mainu's a joke at the moment. I mean, do you see what Gary Lineker said? Gary Lineker said, do you know what? If I was Mainu, and I say this in jest, I'd be thinking about whether I should sue Amorim or not. He's taken a year out of the kid's career. This kid is a wonderful footballer. God, he makes it look so easy. I think that's a bit too far. You know, every coach has preferences. And don't get me wrong, honestly, I could not tell you what Amorim was seeing in terms of not playing Kobbie Mainoo. If he would have played him, maybe he would have been in a job a little bit longer. But yeah, I mean, that was extreme from Lineker. But it just shows, like, you know, a player's good when opposition fans and pundits and, you know, just football media personalities are coming out glowing about your player. Ian Wright glows about him. Gary Lineker's glowing about him. Alan Shearer's glowing about him. Like, non-United fans are glowing about Mainoo. That's how good he is. That's when you know a player's good. I have it about Ahmad as well. Like, I have a lot of Arsenal fan friends who, I mean, surround myself with Arsenal fans too much, but I do have some Arsenal fan friends who really, really rate Ahmad, and I think it just shows that, you know, a player's good when there's outsiders really rating them. Martinez is another one where outside of the United fan base, a lot of people rate him. So yeah, and just in terms of who's going to fit with Tonali, well, I think who's going to fit with Mainu, I think both of them would. If it was an either-or situation, I would go Anderson. I would go Elliot Anderson. When I watch him, he's just an absolute machine of getting around the pitch. The way he breaks up the play, keeps it simple. He's always looking forward. He can see a good through ball. He's always looking for that positive pass. As a CDM that's going to play with Mainu, for me, Anderson stands out. However, I highly, highly, highly rate Tonali. Highly. And I would also be absolutely buzzing if we signed him. I would be. I think both of them. I mean, imagine if we signed both. I think Newcastle fans would go into an absolute meltdown. Not only did we take Mbeumo and Cunha off them in the summer, and Mbeumo and Cunha off them in the summer when they both, you know, Newcastle inquired about both of them. So Newcastle not only tried to go and get Mbeumo, not only tried to go and get Cunha, but also imagine if we went and bought Tonali and Anderson, both ex-Newcastle, and Sesko. They went for Sesko. Oh my gosh. I mean, they would not be happy. Look, it'd be a huge, huge ask to get both of them players. I mean, if United pulled that off, I would just stand up and applaud. But it would be a huge, huge ask. Ideally, I think we do need both. And that was the consensus in my family group chat. My brother said both would take either, but both better than Baleba. Should be going for them both over Baleba. There's a lot of debate going on in there. I would say the way Casemiro is playing at the moment, it's going to be very hard to replace Casemiro. Anderson's not going to have the same goal output and aerial threat as what Casemiro has. Neither's Tonali. But Anderson and Tonali both have got an eye for a pass. They both, you know, can play them through goals getting forward. When you're playing as a CDM for Manchester United, you can't only be a player. Well, when I say CDM, it's quite an old term that, but when you're playing as a deep lying midfielder for Manchester United, you can't only be good at going and breaking up the play and making a tackle and reading the defensive and transitional side of the game. You've also got to be able to get forward. You've got to have an eye for a pass. You've got to be able to have that link-up play going into the final third. You've got to have it all. I think Anderson and Tonali can both do that. I think they can both do that. They're both Premier League proven, which I love. Both of them for me are. If we got both of them, wow. I'd be over the moon. If push came to shove, I'd go for Elliot Anderson. Right behaviours, right attitude, brilliant player. I think he's ready to take the next step up. Every time I watch him, I think he stands out for me. And don't get me wrong, Tonali is absolutely top tier as well, like he is. But I would edge towards Anderson. I just think he suits us just a little bit more. But let me know. Also as well, like someone just said, Tonali has lost his form recently. I'm not going off his recent form. I do think the last few games I've watched Tonali and I've not been impressed. I definitely wasn't impressed at the weekend when I watched the highlights of the Newcastle versus the Brentford game. I thought he definitely wasn't at his best. But, you know, form is temporary, class is permanent. Tonali is a very, very good player and he's still young and he's proved he can do it in the Premier League. He's a very good player. However, like I said, right now I would push towards Anderson, but both are very, very good. Right, last little bit. Amit says, Baleba out, Tonali and Anderson in, one sweep deal. I definitely would not be going for Baleba. I wouldn't be going for Baleba for sure. And I was so into that Baleba deal in the summer and it just shows you, you know, if you're not 100% sure on a player at a young age as well, don't move and shift that money too soon. I think Anderson is a safer bet. I think Tonali is a safer bet. Tongue-in-cheek there. Inside joke if you know it. But I wouldn't be going for Anderson. I wouldn't be going for Baleba. I would be going for Anderson. I would be going for Anderson. I would be going for Baleba. Can't get my words right. I would be going for Anderson. I would be going for Tonali. And I wouldn't be going for Baleba. Braden Barnett says, hi Beth, I'm certain we won't replace Casemiro with the traditional six. Our target show we're going for versatile midfielders like PSG and Barca have. Yeah, I think we do need like a more of an out-and-out number six, but you've got to be able to do everything in today's game if you want to be top tier. But look, I've gone way over time. I've been talking your ear off. So I have rambled on a little bit, forgive me. Smash a like on the video if you've not already. If you do want to know the manager update, because I did promise it, Mark Ogden has said Thomas Tuchel and Carlo Ancelotti are emerging as the leading candidates for the Manchester United job, both with proven Premier League pedigree. Absolutely obsessed with his Premier League pedigree, Premier League experience, the Man United board at the moment, but I'm not mad at it. I think we should be doing it. I don't think every single signing has to be Premier League proven, but I think if the majority of them are, you've got a way better success rate. And look at the likes of Mbeumo and Cunha coming in the summer. Look at Lamens. And you know what? Hopefully Sesko in the future will start to kick on. But sometimes you do need that bit more of an adaptation period if you're coming in from a different league, especially if you're a young player as well. But look, everyone, thank you very much for watching. Just on that note, I'm not one of them that would love Tuchel. I'm not a Tuchel lover for United. I think he's got pros, absolutely, but he's not someone who'd be top of my list. And like I said, Ancelotti, for different reasons, I don't know if he'd be the right fit for Manchester United right now. So let's see where the managerial race takes us. Let's see where that managerial race takes us and where we're headed. Let's see how Carrick gets on. Can he get 5 wins in a row? We will see tomorrow. Tomorrow night is a late kickoff. We've gone from a 12:30 on a Saturday to an 8:15 on a Tuesday night. We will be live from 6:15 on the United stand for Countdown to Kickoff. Jordan is back up from Wales. Well excited to have Jordan in the house. Ricky's here. Maud's is here. We've also got another special guest as well. We'll be joined by a West Ham fan. Make sure you stay tuned for all tomorrow night's coverage. We'll be here from 6:15 on the United stand for the Countdown to Kickoff. Goldbridge will take over with the watch along at 7:45, take you through to the final score, and then we'll hopefully have a very, very excited fans forum in the aftermath of a 5th win in a row. Let's hope we see it. Thank you for watching, everyone. I love you and leave you. Happy Monday, attack the week, and I'll see you on the next one.